When we finally stopped actively killing Native Americans for the crime of living here before us, we then proceeded to violate every treaty we made with the tribes, every single treaty.
So it appears that Lawrence O'Donnell might be out at MSNBC. Now, I rail against the media quite a bit. I have a lot of issues with CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. But there is something to be said for people that are on these networks that are still doing some good work. Now, while I've hit someone like Rachel Maddow a few times, the reality is I'm starting to realize it's okay that she focuses on Russia. That's her thing. That really is the big story right now. I mean, we're talking about the potential impeachment of a president. That's big news. You can't just ignore that news. That should be covered. The issue I took is that it's covered day in, day out. It's always covered. It's the only thing covered. And that's not really Rachel Maddow's fault. So while Maddow is focused on Russia, she is the best one at it. There's no reason why she shouldn't be focused on Russia. And one of the other people on MSNBC that often give some that often add more to the discussion than just the same thing over and over is Lawrence O'Donnell. So Lawrence O'Donnell is someone that often focuses, or at least discusses and brings up these issues, other issues. He was the first one, as far as I know, on MSNBC to talk about DAPL.
Near the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, where hundreds of people have gathered and camped out in opposition to an interstate pipeline being built from North Dakota to Illinois. The protest is being led by this country's original environmentalists, Native Americans.
And actually discuss big oil and the environment. So to have someone like that on the network possibly kicked off it's not good. And it may not be a big deal for people like you and me because we're online. We watch video online. We hopefully read news online. So we sort of get a whole host of different outlets giving us information. But a lot of people, older people in general, just watch cable news. That's their source of information. So when someone like Lawrence O'Donnell is no longer at a network like MSNBC, we're talking about a major loss. Not just for the network, but for the audience, for voters. It's less information getting out there that otherwise they might not hear about. If Lawrence O'Donnell wasn't on MSNBC, people may not know about DAPL. Older people who just watch cable news because it wasn't covered anywhere else. Or when it was barely covered. And you may think, well, if you're not getting the ratings, then why keep the show? Well, here's the thing. Lawrence O'Donnell is getting the ratings. He's number 2 behind Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow gets the most. Then it's Lawrence. Then it's Chris Hayes. The 3 most progressive people on MSNBC get the highest ratings. Yet, the progressives on the network continue to be marginalized by whoever runs the network. So right now it's Andy Lack. He's the NBC News chief, and he also controls who's on air at MSNBC. And apparently, with 4 weeks left in Lawrence's contract, they haven't talked about renewing it, which is leading many to believe that it won't be renewed. So if it's not renewed, it's going to be very, very interesting to see who he's replaced with. Will it be someone like Joy Reid, who I'm not a huge fan of, but she does hit Republicans fairly hard? She's good at that, but she has no introspection on liberals or the Democratic Party. But she hits Republicans very hard. She's progressive in that sense. Or will it be someone like Brian Williams? Someone who doesn't really have an opinion. Someone who can be shaped, whose voice can be shaped by the network itself. So we're really going to have to wait and see how this all plays out. But if Lawrence is gone, it really is a giant blow. And it's really only a matter of time before Maddow and Chris Hayes are knocked off as well.